Good morning, everybody. This is Walk the Dog with Riot Mort, and it is about 6 a.m. on Thursday, the day after the patch has been out. And yeah, yesterday was one of those days where I was very productive. Got a lot of Set 15 work done, got a lot of other stuff done. It was good. Then spent time with my family, and I have to share this story with you. So my wife made pork chops for dinner. We're eating pork chops. We're sitting there in the living room. One of those traditional family moments where me, my wife, and my daughter are sitting there watching TV, flipping through some YouTube. And I don't know how it came up. We were talking about it. But Advent Children, the fight between Sephiroth and Cloud was there. I was like, oh, this movie was so weird, but it's such a good fight. And so I pulled up the video, and Sephiroth comes on screen, and my daughter's like, who is that? And we're like, you don't know who Sephiroth is? And then, so Sephiroth whatever video we pulled up had the English dub, and Sephiroth starts talking with his, deep voice or whatever, and my daughter just gets this look of like, I find this guy attractive, and it was, oh god. And so we actually spent like an hour going down the Final Fantasy VII Sephiroth rabbit hole. We were explaining the plot of Final Fantasy VII, who the characters were, and I was showing her that Sephiroth was in Smash Brothers and Kingdom Hearts, and we were talking about how One Winged Angel is such a iconic song, and the whole time she's just like very excited by this, and it's like, okay, my daughter has a type, yay. So that was a fun bit of my evening. Was, yeah. And then my wife and I joked, of course, and she was like, you can have Tifa, I have Sephiroth, kind of thing. So it was fun, but it was a good day. It was a good productive day. I also played one game of TFT and got a third. I was playing Nitro, then I took Golemify, which I then switched into Divinicorp Slayers and turned it into a third because it was kind of a low roll after that point, but like, I'll take a third from that spot, so it was great. So yeah, otherwise, good stuff. Looking at the meta so far, it's interesting. It seems to be a good meta, but there seem to be things about the meta that are inherent to the set that some people just don't like. Zac being one of the big ones here is like, actually, it's not just Zac, right? It's Zac and Golden Ox Zac, Golden Ox, and Amp, I would say, are the big three. And these are the three that I would call the like hard to play consistently, but when they hit, their caps are really high. How do you beat a Zac 2 with 30 plus blobs? You usually don't. How do you beat a Golden Ox comp, which, by the way, the Golden Ox comp caps with Zac? You usually don't, right? Like, these are sort of the like best caps in the game, or 5 amp, right? If somebody is able to pull off the 5 amp and hit the Samira, they're probably doing pretty good, But on the other side of the table, we have what I'll call these like consistent top 4 comps. 7 Exotech has emerged now, finally. It's like, actually, 7 Exotech's really, really strong in the early and mid game, but it does fall off and seems to have a pretty good top 4 rate and a mediocre to bad win rate. But yet, we've got people like Dish Soap saying it needs to be nerfed, which is so fascinating. It's just like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's like, again, we talked about how challengers have that like, anything that's off the standard curve, they feel like has to be changed. But it's like, I think this is what 7 Exotech might need to be. The other thing about 7 Exotech is, again, I talked about it briefly at the patch rundown. It was a quote-unquote big swing, but it was basically 180 HP, 180 flat HP, which, by the way, flat HP is why it's so good in the early and mid-game and falls off, and 6% attack speed, because it was 2% per item, on people with items. And it went from basically borderline unplayable to world champ wants it nerfed. right? And like, again, I've said this for 6 years now, but these are the margins of balance, right? 2 AD or 50 HP can swing the tide on things so wildly. And then other times you'll have, what was the champ? Oh, LeBlanc, where we had to, buff and then buff, and it's like you buff 3 times. Total buff is actually like 15-20% almost. And it's like, nope, still not really playable. So it's hard sometimes to get those margins right. But we'll see. Yeah, we got one more patch. It's crazy because we already have to localization lock it tomorrow. That being said, I don't think there's anything in the patch that really needs loc changes at this point in the set. So really just the big work is Monday for the Worlds patch. I'm going to try to get a few games in today. My schedule actually looks relatively open today. So it's a day where I could maybe get in a few games, see how it feels. I know one of the big challenges is just that little bit of extra HP has made Sejuani really good again. One of the things I do think Bishop was correct on, though, is that like in making Graves is a lot like Nocturne, in that without artifacts he's probably balanced, if not actually a little underpowered. With artifacts, on the other hand, woo, nearly. He definitely uses a lot of artifacts really well, and the fact he's using Wit's End, that's not great. So let's see what's up with that, So, and that's kind of like Nocturne. I think this is where Dishop's probably right, where it's like, yeah, we might just have to nerf Graves a little. But again, if you go back and look at the Graves changes, they were tiny. So how do we get them, from unplayable to not unplayable and things like that? But yeah, I mean, Sterix helped, but not that much. I don't know. So anyway, that's my quick little rant on the state of things. Let's answer questions. All right. Today's questions, I don't have amazing answers for, well, at least for the first one. So I get this question a lot, and it's always sort of like, hey, you've been working on TFT. What are some of the funniest bugs or the root causes of bugs or the things you can remember? And the reason I don't give the best answers for this is because oftentimes when it comes to like the heart of putting things together, right? Like my involvement in a set nowadays especially is like I'm there for the first month or two where it's like we establish the foundation, and then I expect the set team to sort of like go off and build the thing. Hey, oh, it's okay. Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted by this. The cat was just laying here whining. But okay. My wife told me to bring treats to try to lure it. Crazy. Sorry, we're the type of people that if we see like a wild cat, we want to like pick it up and make it better and stuff like that. But sorry, I'll try not to be distracted here. He's just running away from me. Anyway, so typically, I'm involved in the first month of getting the foundation laid out. Then the team goes and builds the set. And then during that build time is when a lot of the bugs will happen. Whereas I might be busy helping finish the next set or the previous set or things like that. And so I don't often get to see all the like hilarious bugs, because by the time I kind of like come back to the set and help put it together and finish the details, a lot of those are ironed out. And so people like Giovanni or Kent or some of the set leads can probably give you better answers. But let me talk through a few. And I'll try to go quick because a lot of my loyal watchers who watch this stuff have probably heard some of these. So I won't spend too much time on it. But the first one is that, hilariously enough, a lot of our bugs can be caused by something as simple as forgetting to check a checkbox like ignore NPCs or ignore allies. Like we have these checkbox flags for setting things up. So if you want to spell the hit like everybody or ally or not, you can check these checkboxes. And when you screw this up, here's some example causes. Caitlyn's ult can be blocked by little legends or the augment holder. Those can happen because, by the way, this cat is literally just leading me. This is the cat, by the way. He's like leading me. Caitlyn's ult can get blocked by the augment prop, or it can get blocked by little legends. Or another example is we had a case where Riven in set 4, the ult could do damage, including to the little legend. And it turns out, when you do 200 damage to a little legend, you die. And that was a really funny moment. Sorry, I am just so distracted because this cat is just leading me. And it's leading me back to the same place we saw it yesterday. This is going to be a really boring video for you guys. I'm sorry. I keep getting cut off. But yeah, other examples of this were trying to think. Other examples of where you would get it interrupted were, if it could hit enemies or allies. So this is where your own ults, your Caitlyn casts and kills your own enemy. We've seen that before, or kills your own unit. So that's always a little rough. Just sitting here mewing. So that's one example of a hilarious bug. And anytime it happens, you're sort of like, what just happened? Hi. What are we doing? Hi. Oh, hello. It's okay. No. Yeah. It's okay. What? Where are we going? I'm trying to do a podcast here, buddy. You're very distracting. Yeah? Yeah? Are you very nervous? I won't hurt you. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, hello. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. You poor thing need a bath. Yeah. Yeah. Come here. It's okay. Where are we going? It's okay. Does this thing make you nervous? She keeps coming up to me, and then the tripod kind of makes her nervous. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I might have to re-record this because I don't know if you guys want to just see me dealing with this cat. You've got no collar. Here, I'm going to put this down for a second. No, we going away? Here. Come here. Come here. Yeah. It's okay. Hey. It's okay. It's just a camera. It's just a camera. Yeah. Come here. Yeah, come here. I know, you hungry? Here, I'll come over here. Away from the tripod. No? Come here. You're so weird. You're so weird. Again, I'm so sorry about this podcast being boring. I'm supposed to be talking about bugs. Okay, well, we'll try again here. Well, what? How am I supposed to record a podcast if you're just going to circle me? Huh? Huh? They don't want to know about you. They want to know about bugs. Yeah. Where are we going? Yeah. Come here. Come here. It's okay. It's okay. We gonna go back? You want down? Here, hang on. I'm gonna put this down. No? Okay. I can't carry this and her. This is, I feel bad now because I'm not recording this podcast. Oh, poor kitty. All right, tell you what. I'm going to end this, put this in my pocket, and see if I can carry this cat home. And I'll probably re-record this. So, that's what Char would want me to do. All right, peace. Okay, part 2. Sorry. I just spent the last 10, 15 minutes trying to hold the cat, chase the cat. I had it in a good spot, and then a truck came by, it scared it off. And it just kept trying to lead me around, but it's like, I got stuff to do, man. I'm sorry. So hopefully the cat's okay. But anyway, sorry, like I said, the bug answer I didn't give a super satisfying. I'll close off the bug thing, by the way, with talking about how our code can get pretty complicated. And so most recently we had the bug where sometimes you would put an emblem on a unit, and that unit, the emblem just wouldn't work. And, it took us ages to find this. And one of our engineers dug in real deep. And it turns out this was only happening if you somehow bought the exact copy of a unit that somebody else in the game had at one point and they died, because our player ID on like the army modifier for the turn you use it wasn't being set properly. And so the emblem didn't know which army to give the buff to, which is wild, and it's like, why is the code structured like that? I don't know, but it is what it is. So again, apologies that this wasn't like the most satisfying answer. I warned you I wouldn't give the best answer for this one, but yeah. All right. I'm going to try to get through more of these questions. I'm on my way back home. I've already eaten up enough of my morning time with this silly cat. Takes on rolling on stage 2. So yeah, this is in reference to the fact that a long time ago I said one of the big things I don't like about TFT is the fact that basically stage 2 has no agency. You kind of just play the army you hit, play the units you're given. You have the agency of like which of those units you choose to go in which direction you start down. But 2-1 to 2-5 or 2-6, you're just kind of waiting. The reroll button is basically not worth pressing. Now, someone was like, hey, any updates on this? Have you explored this? Have you done more about this? And what I'll say is we did test something internally. We tested where everyone got a free reroll each turn in stage 2, and you had to use it. Because this was back before rerolls stacked. Because otherwise you would just save up the rerolls. And what it did was actually, it just made stage 2 armies stronger. Like if you were a win streaker, or if you were a loss streaker, you still wouldn't want to buy units because all it would do is make your army stronger. Think of it like you're playing Cypher, and sure, there's a Vi 2 in there, and maybe a LeBlanc 2. Do you want that? Not really. You still just want a loss streak. So stage for loss streakers, it didn't change anything. But for the win streakers, it was just like, their boards would get intense, right? You would have, 2-star 2 costs pretty frequently on 2-3, just because of these extra rerolls, which made the discrepancy between the people win streaking and the people loss streaking in stage 2 that much worse. And so that gave us an indication that, like, actually, maybe, letting people spend their money in this stage wasn't going to be worth it unless we had a way to, deal with the compound interest part of the game And that became too complex of a problem that like the benefits weren't really amazing. So we ended up not pursuing that. It's still something I think is weird, especially for newer players to grasp, is like, don't press this button. But thankfully, I think there are some augments that encourage you to press the button. I forget the name of it, but the one that says every time you press buy XP, get 2 gold back, and it re-rolls your shop. Like, that's a cool augment, right? And in stage 2, it forces you to like spend some re-rolls and get the value out of it. And I'd like to see us do more stuff like that, where certain things in the augment space open up versions where it's like, no, do press this button. I think Punk, to some extent, did this, right? Where it was like, don't forget to use your reroll each turn. And that's a good thing. So I think my answer to this is, like I said, we tried some of the the bigger solutions. It ended up not panning out. And I think the way to solve it is through traits, augments, things like that. But yeah, overall, it kind of is what it is. I doubt we'll change it much. All right, next question. This is normally where I end the stream, by the way, on my walk, but now because everything's all effed up, you're just going to get to talk to me for another 10 minutes. What's the weirdest trait structure you'd green light? So, obviously, right now we have things like 2, 4, 6, 8, 3, 5, 7, 3, 6, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with stuff like guild, 2, 3, 4, 5 with stuff like classes. But is there anything else we would consider? And the answer is yes. There just has to be a good reason. For example, I think, actually, didn't Portal have this? Portal was 3, 6, 8, which was weird. And I approved that. Someone tried 3, 5, 8 recently, which was okay. The challenge I'm finding, though, is that the midpoint of traits often has little value in the set, short of being a stepping stone to the end point, unless the balance is bad, at which point you don't go to the end point, right? When 7 Exotech was bad, it may as well not have existed, and Exotech may have just capped at 5. Same with Fairy, right? Like Fairy, for a while, nobody played 7. So midpoints of structures have to be really well done. Now, we have 1-4, by the way. 1-4 is another one of the weird ones we've done with Emissary. So would I approve other stuff? And this is where I think, like, with the right pitch, sure. It's just they can be pretty hard to play. Like, imagine if we did a 2-6, just like an enlarged version of Emissary. Okay, so you put 2 in pretty easily. And then what? You hold a bunch of units and then spike them in later? Is that fun? Not really. It's different. It's different for the sake of different, but it's not necessarily fun. So I don't know if I would do that. Or let's take this to the extreme, right? Like a 2-8. Same thing. It's like, oh, if you can pull off the 8, but is that really that dynamic? Likewise, we've tried, the entry point to a trait has always been 1, 2, or 3. Well, what about a 4? What if we went like a 4-8? Well, that means you have to hold 3 units on your bench before you hit the 4th, before you can finally even play the trait. That's also another thing that feels, again, different for the sake of different, but not necessarily fun. Seems more like a pain in the butt. So that's kind of why we've never gone that extreme. But who knows? Maybe, for example, like, would I do a 3-6-10? Maybe, right? If there was the right trait structure to support it. I could see it. But that's generally what we're looking for when we make these trait structures. Is sort of like, how is it to play it, right? What's the steps you have to go through to activate this trait? And if the answer is, well, you have to hold a bunch of units on your bench, it's kind of tedious, right? And I think Emissary is the most recent example of this, where, yeah, holding those other emissaries on the bench, a little annoying, It was unique the first time in Ninja, and the payoff was worth it with Ninja. But as we've solved it, it's sort of like, not that exciting. So usually the break point between units, and that's why, like, it used to be 3-6, and now we usually have 3-5s, right? It's because, like, the lower the amount between increments of the trait, the easier it is to play, which generally leads to more satisfaction for our complicated game. So, yeah. But again, if the right pitch came, would I approve something unique? I think I could. 2-6, 4-8, or hell, even just like, imagine a trait that was just 5, right? That's it. It's just a 5-piece trait, no 1 through 4. Would I approve that in the right circumstances? Yeah, sure. Why not? So, there you go. All right, last question. If you could snap your fingers and make anything happen, what are 2 wishes you have for TFT? Okay, the first one's easy, because this comes up all the time. Get rid of the goddamn bugs. I have been saying, I told this to Medler in set 1. I told this to Medler like 2 weeks ago. The hardest part about balancing TFT is the assumption that it works, right? The worst patch of this set was because of Hollow Bow and a bug with it. You know, like the bugs. If I could snap my fingers and the game was bug free and worked the way it was intended and designed, oh God, that would be so good. I would take that in a heartbeat. I would take that so quick. And then I think if I could snap my fingers, I have to be careful because I can't talk about things that we might already be doing. What would be the second thing? Because the bugs one's easy. Okay, if I could snap my fingers, you're gonna laugh. But once we had the paper structure for a set, getting it into game, if I could like make that process instantaneous, whereas right now that's like the longest part of the process. If I could, like, dumb example, but fast forward to a world where you put in the paper structure into AI, and AI outputs all the code and models and says, "Here's your set." Would I want that world? Yeah, I would, because that would get rid of the tedium part of the game building, and that would make us be able to do more stuff, spend more time refining the game, play test it more, get the balance better before launch. Because again, like even right now, like set 15, it's like you play test something, you think it's like broken, then you turn to find out like one of its traits is giving double the value it's supposed to. Great, there goes your balance reads. So, yeah. So, I think those would be my 2 answers. Okay, sorry this video's scuffed. Apologies, I got distracted by the cat. I'm actually back home now. I will be one more walk the dog tomorrow. Today's the last day of school for the kids. It's literally 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., which is silly. It's like a field day. So, whatever. But yeah, otherwise, that's going to do it for me. You might see me playing some games today. And then this weekend stream and then my flight to LA. So, yeah. Okay, again, please forgive me for the scuffedness. Yeah, tomorrow won't be scuffed, I promise. Or it will, and I'll bring cat treats. So, all right, that's going to do it for me. Until next time, take it easy.